The depth beneath the still water, become mysterious but powerful. Introduction: the quiet power no one talks about. In a world that never stops shouting, true power has a secret, it speaks in a whisper. We are taught that influence belongs to the loudest voice, the most frequent post, the person who explains themselves the most. But there is a deeper, older kind of strength, one that doesn't chase attention but patiently draws it in. This is the power of the still water. Not the roaring wave that crashes and is gone, but the deep lake whose surface is calm, hiding worlds beneath. This book is not about becoming secretive or closed off. It is about becoming so interesting, so self-contained, and so calmly present that people can't help but lean closer, listen harder, and wonder more. It's about trading the exhausting game of shouting for the magnetic art of being heard in the silence. We begin with a simple shift: stop trying to tell everyone who you are, and start letting them discover it piece by fascinating piece. Imagine walking into a room and, without saying a word, feeling the energy tilt toward you. Imagine ending a conversation and watching the other person's eyes follow you, already missing your presence. This is not magic, it is a skill. It is the art of being mysterious but powerful. Over the next 10 chapters, you will learn the silent language of posture and pause, the magnetism of selective sharing, and the graceful rhythm of a person who moves through the world on their own terms. You will build an inner world so rich that you no longer need constant validation from the outer one. Let's begin the journey from noisy to necessary, from overlooked to unforgettable. The world belongs to the quietly deep. Chapter 1: Stop shouting, start drawing people in. Imagine two people at a party. The first talks loudly, telling everyone their job title, their weekend plans, and their strong opinions. People nod, then walk away. The second stands calmly, listens more than they speak, and when they do, it's to ask a surprising question or share a curious observation. A small crowd forms around them, leaning in, wanting more. This is the first secret: mystery is not about hiding in shadows. It is about becoming a magnet. For years, we've been taught that to be powerful, we must be the loudest voice. We post every thought, share every win, and fill every silence. But this doesn't create power, it creates noise. And in a world full of noise, the person who creates quiet interest becomes the most powerful person in the room. The goal is not to be unknown, but to be unfinished in the minds of others, to make them want to turn the page. Think of Sophia, a new manager in a company of talkers. In her first meetings, she didn't fight to present her ideas. She simply watched, listened, and at the very end, asked one sharp question that no one had considered. Have we thought about why this failed the last time we tried it? The room went quiet. She didn't give an answer, she gave a puzzle. By the next meeting, people were asking, "What does Sophia think?" She didn't shout her way to the center, she drew the center to her. This chapter is your mindset revolution. We are moving from the exhausting work of pushing your presence onto people, to the masterful art of pulling them toward you. It's the difference between being an open book, read once and forgotten, and being a fascinating locked box that everyone wants the key to. Your energy will shift from seeking approval to cultivating intrigue. Your first task is simple: for one day, make it your mission to listen more intently and speak more selectively. Notice the hunger it creates. Feel the space your calmness creates around you. This is the ground floor of your mysterious power. You are no longer shouting over the crowd. You are building a room of your own, and the right people will find the door. Chapter 2: Your Silent Language, Mastering the Unsaid. Before you speak a single word, you are already communicating. Your body is a broadcast tower, sending signals of nervousness, neediness, confidence, or calm. To be mysteriously powerful, you must first master this silent language. Your goal is to broadcast one clear, compelling signal: I am here, completely by choice, and I am at peace with this silence. Let's start with your posture. Think of a tree with deep roots. It does not sway with every breeze. Stand and sit like that tree. A straight back, relaxed shoulders, and feet planted firmly are not just confident poses, they are unshakable poses. They say, I occupy this space completely, and I am in no rush to leave. Now, your eyes. When someone speaks, look at them with steady, calm attention. Not a staring contest, but a gentle hold. Then, when you speak, use the power of the pause. After an important point, be silent for 2 full seconds. Let your words hang in the air. This silence is not awkward, it is powerful. It makes people lean in to fill it. Leo was a skilled negotiator, but he always lost the advantage in small talk before the deal even started. He fidgeted, spoke too fast, and laughed nervously. He decided to change only his silent language. In the next meeting, he sat perfectly still. He listened, nodded slowly, and when asked a probing question, he simply smiled and took a slow sip of water before answering. The other executive became visibly flustered, filling the silence with a better offer. Leo hadn't argued, he had just become still water, and the other man saw his own nervous reflection. Your silent language builds the container for your mystery. If your body shouts, nervous, or needy, no one will believe you have hidden depths. But if your body whispers, calm, and self-contained, people will assume your mind is a treasure trove. They will project intelligence, competence, and power onto you before you've even earned it. Practice this. Tomorrow, have a conversation where you focus 90% of your energy on just 3 things: keeping your hands still, holding calm eye contact, and inserting one intentional pause. Do not worry about what you say. Just watch how the other person's behavior changes. You are not having a conversation, you are conducting an orchestra with your stillness. Chapter 3: The Magnetism of Selective Sharing. Here is the golden rule that separates the ordinary from the magnetic: share your thoughts, not your drama. Share your passions, not your problems. Most people do the opposite. They dump their personal history, daily troubles, and private worries onto anyone who will listen. This doesn't create connection, it creates a burden. The mysteriously powerful person shares what lights them up, not what weighs them down. What does this look like in practice? Someone asks, "How was your weekend?" The average person says, "Oh, busy. The kids were crazy, and I had to fix the sink. It was a mess." You, however, will say, "I discovered the most fascinating documentary on deep-sea volcanoes. The technology they use is incredible. It made me think about how much we still don't know." See the difference? One is a closed loop of personal detail. The other is an open door to a world of ideas. You've revealed a passion, not a problem. You've shown depth, not drama. An artist named Mila struggled because people always saw her as an open book of emotional struggles. At gallery openings, she'd overshare about her creative blocks. She decided to flip the script. At her next show, when a collector asked about her inspiration, she didn't mention her pain. Instead, she looked at her painting and said, "I was obsessed with the idea of silence having a color." "What color do you think silence is?" The conversation exploded. The collector was captivated, bought the piece, and introduced her to a dozen new clients. Mila hadn't hidden, she had selectively revealed a more fascinating layer. This is your new filter. Before you speak, ask, am I sharing a fact of my life, or am I sharing a fragment of my mind? Talk about the book that changed your perspective, the skill you're secretly learning, the strange history of the city you live in. Be a curator of fascinating content from your own inner world. People will leave conversations with you feeling energized and smarter, not drained. They will not know your daily schedule or your relationship troubles. But they will know you as the person who has interesting depths to explore. They will think, I don't know everything about them, but I always learn something new when we talk. That is the magnetism of selective sharing. Chapter 4. Become an unpredictable master, not a chaotic mess. Mystery needs a spark of surprise. If you are perfectly predictable, you become background noise, a comfortable, boring piece of furniture in people's lives. But if you are chaotically random, you become exhausting and unreliable. The sweet spot is in between. You are an unpredictable master. You follow your own internal rhythm, which keeps people pleasantly off balance and deeply curious about what you'll do next. This isn't about being flaky. It's about breaking your own patterns in small, elegant ways. It's changing your routine, taking a different route to work, ordering the strange dish on the menu, or diving into a hobby no one would expect. It's about having a range of skills that don't seem to fit together. You're a financial analyst who also wins salsa competitions. These contradictions are fascinating. They signal that you cannot be easily labeled or put in a box. Take Alex, a software engineer everyone saw as quiet and logical. His colleagues thought they had him figured out. Then, the company talent show came. Alex walked on stage, took the microphone, and delivered a 10-minute stand-up comedy routine that was perfectly timed and brilliantly witty. The room was stunned, then erupted in applause. On Monday, everything had changed. People looked at him differently. His quietness was now seen as observation, not shyness. His opinions carried more weight. By revealing a hidden layer at the right moment, he rewrote his entire story. Your mission is to build these contradictions into your identity. Learn one thing that seems at odds with your main role. Practice the art of the unexpected, graceful no. If you always say yes to after-work drinks, politely decline once with a simple, I have a prior commitment to myself tonight. You don't need to explain. The commitment is to your own mystery. This controlled unpredictability makes you a source of energy, not chaos. People will pay attention because they know interaction with you might lead somewhere new. They can't rely on you to be the same person every day, and that is your strength. You are not a closed loop, you are an unfolding story, and everyone wants to know what happens in the next chapter. Chapter 5. The Art of the Quiet Entrance and Exit. Most people slide in and out of rooms like ghosts, or they make a loud, needy scene to announce themselves. You will do neither. You will master the quiet entrance and the graceful exit. These are the bookends of your presence, and they dictate how the entire story of your interaction is remembered. The goal is simple: enter as if you belong, and leave as if you have somewhere more important to be. The quiet entrance is about the first 30 seconds. Do not rush in looking for a friendly face. Pause at the threshold. Breathe. Let your eyes calmly sweep the room, as if you are observing an interesting scene. Then, move in with purpose, not speed, toward the bar, a piece of art, or the host. Your energy says, I have arrived to observe and choose my interactions, not to beg for attention. People will see your calm assurance and will often come to you. Now, the graceful exit. This is even more powerful. The rule is, always leave at the peak of the interaction, not the bottom. Leave when the conversation is lively and engaging, not when it's fizzling out. Offer a firm, warm handshake or a slight nod, smile, and say, I've truly enjoyed this. I must excuse myself. Do not over-explain. Then, turn and walk away without looking back. You have just created a perfect, powerful memory. You leave people wanting more, not less. Elena practiced this at a crowded networking event. She entered not by charging to a group, but by standing near a large window, calmly surveying the room with a faint smile. A senior executive noticed her composed demeanor and approached her. They had a fantastic talk. Just as the executive was offering to introduce her to someone, Elena glanced at her watch, smiled warmly, and said, You have been incredibly helpful. I must honor my next appointment, but I'd love to continue this next week. She offered her card and left. The executive was so impressed by her poise and timing that she became Elena's most. From this moment on, see every social space as a stage where you control your opening and closing scenes. Your entrance sets the tone of intrigue, your exit cements the legend. You are not a prisoner of the party or the meeting, you are a visitor from a more interesting world, just passing through. This art makes you unforgettable. People will remember the calm, powerful person who arrived without fanfare and left without neediness. They will wonder where you came from, and more importantly, where you are going next. And that is a question you never have to answer. Chapter 6: Build Your Inner World, the Source of True Mystery. A castle built on sand will fall. In the same way, a mysterious personality built on nothing is just a hollow act. If you spend all your time curating your image but none filling your mind, people will see through you fast. True mystery is not a mask you wear, it is the natural glow of a person who has a rich, full, and fascinating life away from the watching eyes of others. This chapter is about building that inner world, the private source of your public power. Think about what makes a person genuinely interesting. It's not their job title or their clothes. It's the unexpected passions, the skills learned for pure joy, the strange knowledge collected like seashells. It's the person who can identify constellations, bake perfect sourdough, explain a historical battle, or play the blues harmonica. These are not party tricks, they are proof of a curious mind and a soul that feeds itself. When you have these private pursuits, you carry a quiet confidence. You know you are someone, with or without an audience. Consider the story of Ben, a quiet accountant everyone thought was boring. For years, he just nodded in meetings and kept to himself. What no one knew was that Ben spent his evenings and weekends on a secret project. He was slowly building a perfect, miniature model of an ancient Roman city in his basement. He studied architecture, history, and even Latin. One day, a client at a dinner made a dismissive comment about people with no imagination. Ben didn't get defensive. He simply smiled and asked, "Did you know Roman engineers used volcanic ash to make concrete that lasts millennia?" He then shared two more astonishing facts, calmly and precisely. The table fell silent, then erupted in questions. Ben was no longer the boring accountant, he was the man with the hidden Roman city. Your mission is to become an explorer of your own life. Pick one thing that fascinates you: forbidden history, birdwatching, woodworking, learning a language of a culture you love, and dive into it just for you. Don't post about it. Don't make it part of your brand. Let it be your secret garden. This practice does two powerful things. It gives you genuine substance, and it teaches you the joy of your own company. You become less needy for others' attention because you are giving interesting attention to yourself. This is the foundation that cannot be faked. When your inner world is vibrant, your outer calm is real. You don't need to force mystery because you naturally have more to you than meets the eye. People will sense this depth. They'll see the calm smile and know it's not an empty performance, it's the quiet satisfaction of a person who is their own best friend and most fascinating project. Start building your castle on rock, today. Chapter 7, Let Them Solve the Puzzle, The Power of Questions. Most conversations are a duel of declarations, everyone rushing to state their opinion, tell their story, and prove their point. The mysteriously powerful person never fights in this duel. They change the game entirely. They put down their sword and pick up a key. They become the master of the question. When you ask the right question, you do three brilliant things: you show deep interest, you reveal nothing about yourself, and you gently steer the entire conversation. You turn the other person into the fascinating subject, and yourself into the fascinating guide. The magic lies in the type of question. Avoid simple, factual ones like, "What do you do?" or "Where are you from?" These lead to dead ends. Instead, ask questions that open doors to values, dreams, and struggles. Try, "What's a project that's exciting you right now?" or "What's something you believed 10 years ago that you've completely changed your mind about?" These questions are unexpected. They make people pause, think, and then share a piece of their soul. And while they are busy thinking deeply about themselves, they are not thinking about prying into you. Maya used this to navigate a room full of powerful, prying investors. They wanted to know her business secrets, her revenue, her weaknesses. Instead of answering directly, she turned the light around. When one investor asked a blunt question about her company's losses, she didn't flinch. She leaned in slightly and asked, "That's an important concern. What, in your long experience, is the one early mistake you see brilliant founders make that leads to those losses?" The investor's eyes lit up. For the next 10 minutes, he held the floor, sharing his wisdom, feeling like the mentor. By the end, he was convinced Maya was the most insightful founder he'd met, and she'd told him almost nothing. She had let him solve the puzzle of his own expertise. Practice being the curator of curiosity. Before any event, prepare 3 to 5 open-ended questions in your mind. Your goal in any chat is to ask 2 great questions for every one personal fact you reveal. Listen to the answers as if they are the most interesting story you've ever heard. Your silence, punctuated by thoughtful questions, will become more compelling than any monologue. You become a mirror, and people love their own reflection. They leave conversations with you feeling fascinating, understood, and curiously thirsty for more of your quiet, perceptive presence. They won't know much about you, but they will know one thing for sure: talking to you makes them feel more alive. And that is a power no amount of talking about yourself can ever buy. Chapter 8: Handle Pressure Like Still Water. The true test of your mysterious power isn't when things are easy, it's when someone tries to poke a hole in your calm surface. The nosy question, the sarcastic joke at your expense, the person who brings drama to your doorstep. This is the moment. Do you splash back with anger or over-explain with nerves? Or do you remain, like still water, undisturbed? Your reaction here will either prove your depth or reveal you were shallow all along. The goal is not to win an argument, but to prove your peace is unbreakable. Your primary tool is the smile and redirect. It is a gentle, graceful martial art for conversations. When faced with a prying question, "So, why aren't you married yet?" or a provocative comment, "You're very quiet, are you even paying attention?" you do not engage on their terms. First, you offer a small, calm, unbothered smile, not a smirk, but the smile of someone who has heard a faint, unimportant noise. This smile alone disarms them. Then, you redirect. You pivot the energy away from the attack and toward a neutral or positive topic. I find life more interesting when it's not on a checklist. Speaking of interesting, I was impressed by your presentation earlier. Sam worked in a gossipy office where everyone's personal life was public fuel. When a colleague loudly asked, "So Sam, heard your big deal fell through. Must be rough living with that failure," the room tensed. Sam took a slow sip of water, set the glass down softly, and smiled. It's fascinating how quickly news travels here. It reminds me of how tribal communication worked historically, vital for survival. He then turned to the asker. "Your report last week on market trends was sharp. How did you land on that analysis?" The attack evaporated. Sam was not defensive, he was observational. He became the adult in the room, and the gossiper looked childish. This skill turns pressure into proof. Every attempt to rattle you simply shows everyone else how unshakable you are. You teach people how to treat you, not with casual disrespect, but with cautious respect. They learn that throwing a rock into your pond doesn't make a splash, it just sinks silently into your depths. Practice this like a mantra: "My calm is my castle. I will not let them inside the walls." Start with low-stakes situations, a family gathering, a casual chat. When you feel a probing question, breathe, smile softly, and gently steer the conversation like a ship on calm water. You are not avoiding, you are commanding. And with each test you pass, your reputation as a person of deep, quiet power solidifies into fact. Chapter 9: From Mystery to Respect, When Your Silence Commands the Room. Mystery attracts attention, but what do you do with it? This chapter is about the transformation, when the curiosity you've cultivated hardens into genuine respect. It's the moment your silent presence in a meeting carries more weight than the person shouting. It's when people pause and look at you before making a decision. This is not about being liked, it's about being trusted and valued. Your quietness is no longer seen as shyness, but as a reservoir of unspoken judgment and capability. This shift happens automatically when you've built the previous chapters into your life. Because you speak less, people assume you think more. Because you react to drama with calm, people assume you have greater strength. Because you ask great questions, people assume you have greater answers. Your selective sharing has painted a picture of depth, and now people project wisdom onto your silence. They will start to seek your nod of approval, to quote your rare comments, to say, "Let's see what they think." Take the story of Clara, the head of design who was often overlooked by the loud sales and engineering leads. In product meetings, she'd listen for 45 minutes while others argued. Then, in the last 5 minutes, she'd speak. She'd summarize the core problem in one clear sentence, offer a single, elegant solution, and then go quiet. At first, they dismissed it. But her solutions kept working. Soon, the dynamic changed. The meeting would grow chaotic, and then someone would say, "Clara, you're quiet. What's the move?" The room would fall silent to hear her. Her silence had become a vacuum that pulled respect toward her. Your words now have weight because you've given them rarity. When you finally choose to speak, make it count. Be concise, be insightful, and be grounded in the substance you built in Chapter 6. Offer a perspective no one else has, then pull back. Do not over-explain. Let the idea hang in the air for others to champion. You become the strategist in the shadows, the one whose approval matters most precisely because it is hardest to earn. Watch as your social and professional currency changes. You are no longer fighting for a seat at the table, you are the reason the table is quiet when you arrive. People will not just be curious about you, they will be careful around you, in the best way. They will want your good opinion. This is the power you have earned, the power of the unspoken, respected yes or no. Your mystery has matured into authority. Chapter 10, The Balanced Depth, Living Powerful, Not Isolated. Walking this path can lead to a surprising danger, the fortress. In building your inner world and protecting your peace, you might build walls so high you feel lonely inside them. This final chapter is about building a drawbridge. True power is not isolation, it is the ability to connect deeply on your own terms, without losing yourself. It is about choosing who gets a glimpse of the depths, and sharing genuine warmth without throwing open all the doors. This is the balance, being mysterious but not untouchable, powerful but not closed off. The key is intentional intimacy. You move from being selectively private to being selectively vulnerable. You share a small, real piece of your inner world with someone who has earned your trust. Maybe you tell one true story from your past that shaped you, or share a current fear about a passion project. This is not oversharing, it is a gifted secret. It deepens a chosen connection exponentially, because the person knows it is rare. They feel trusted and special, and your mystery deepens in their eyes because they now know a real piece of the puzzle. David had mastered the art of being respected and unknown at his company. He was effective but felt like a statue, admired but not connected to. He decided to build one real bridge. He identified a thoughtful junior colleague who showed consistent integrity. After a successful project, David asked him for a coffee. There, instead of talking shop, David said, "You handle pressure well. I admire that. I learned it the hard way when I lost my first business. It taught me that failure isn't a full stop, it's a comma." That one shared sentence, that small piece of true depth, transformed their relationship. It was humanizing without being draining. David gained a loyal ally and a real connection, while losing none of his powerful aura. Your power must have a purpose beyond itself. Use your calm to de-escalate conflicts. Use your perception to champion others' good ideas. Use your respected silence to speak up for someone who has no voice. This grounds your mystery in goodness. It ensures you are not just a locked chest, but a treasure that, when shared with the right person at the right time, enriches both your lives. You have journeyed from noise to stillness, from seeking attention to commanding respect. Now, you get to choose. You are the master of your own depth. You can let the right ones in to see the gardens you've grown inside, while the outside world still sees only the calm, still surface of the water. This is the balanced life, powerfully mysterious, mysteriously kind, deeply connected, and completely, unshakably your own. Your quiet power is now a gift, not just a shield. Go and use it well. Conclusion: the world belongs to the quietly deep. You have learned that power does not need a spotlight, it grows best in the quiet soil of your own making. We began by shifting from shouting for attention to drawing people in, mastering the silent language of your presence. We filled your inner world with passions that have nothing to prove, and learned to wield curiosity like a key, opening others while keeping your own doors elegantly closed. You've practiced standing firm as still water against pressure, turning nosy questions into proof of your unshakable calm. And you've felt the moment when mystery matures into respect, when your silence itself commands the room. This is not a finish line, but a beginning. You are now the author of your own presence, no longer a side character in someone else's noise. You carry with you a calm that disarms, a depth that intrigues, and a choice that liberates, the choice to connect meaningfully without losing yourself. The balanced power you now hold is rare. It allows you to navigate the world with grace, influence without force, and belong without fading into the crowd. So step forward. Move through your days not as someone seeking validation, but as someone who carries a quiet certainty. Let them wonder. Let them watch. Let them lean in. You are no longer just in the world, you are a world unto yourself, deep, still, and powerfully alive. The surface is calm. The depths are yours. Go and be unforgettable.